Kevin here with MyATVs.com. Today we're going to show you how to assemble the CY50B TaoTao scooter. This is probably the easiest scooter to assemble. We've already got it uncrated. You can check out our uncrating videos, but we'll go ahead and get started. The first thing you're going to want to grab is out of your packaging just the small bolt and your nut for it. You set those on the seat. We're going to put our steering column on the stem. And by doing that, Dave, pick that up and bring it in here so you can see this one. These are a little bit different than some of the other setups. If you look at this, it's got a little notch in it. If you look down in the steering column, it's got a little bar through it. Can you see down there far enough, Dave? It's got a little bar in it. That bar has got to slide in that steering column. It's important to do that on these. So what we'll do is set this on, slide it down, and I'm just going to wiggle it as I put it down. Make sure it goes all the way on there. What I'm looking for is I have it far enough down to where when I turn my steering column, this whole front nose assembly starts to turn with it. So I'm just going to keep wiggling it down, moving it, wiggling it down, moving it. Okay, now I have it in its proper groove. And you can tell it's in the proper groove by when you turn the steering wheel, your front wheel's moving with it. So that's in the proper position right now. Alright, now we've got it on the steering column. We're going to go ahead and put our bolt through. I've already Loctited the bolt. It's the small bolt that comes in your packaging along with the nut. You just want to carefully slide it in this first hole. And slide it through the back. And the 13 and a 14 millimeter ratchet. Go ahead and put my nut on the back. And tighten this down. Alright, that's tightened down good. That steering column's complete. Alright, our next step is to go ahead and front your front headlight assembly. In order to do that, you just need your headlight assembly and the 4 small screws that you got in the packaging. What we want to do, go ahead and put our connections in. Make sure you hook them up right. There's a 2-prong and a 3-prong. You can't really get them wrong because they won't fit. Make those are pushed in so they snap in. Okay, those are both secure. Then we're going to put our front panel in. Might have to tuck your wires back some. Alright, I got it set in there, and then come to the back here, Dave. Take a Phillips head screwdriver. I'm just going to start a screw here. Don't tighten these all the way down until you have them all 4 started. Just in case you have to move it around a little bit. Alright. And I'll come over to this side. If you notice in here, you just want to make sure that you don't have any cables or anything pinched in there before you tighten it up. So I'm just going to take my finger, push this cable up to make sure nothing's blocking it. So then I can go ahead and put my other screw on this side. And then your last 2 holes are right on the sides here. We'll put those in. I'm going to go ahead and start tightening these up now. Alright, and then if you look at the front here, that's how your front assembly should look. It should be lined up right in the grooves, and it'll be all set up for you there. And that's the front headlight assembly. Alright, now we're going to install the front wheel. Important things on the front wheel when you install them is to make sure you have your front axle bolt out along with the nut that came with it when you uncrated it, and your spacer. You go ahead and take the spacer off. That spacer is going to sit in the brake disc side of the rim. It doesn't screw in, you just take it in and push it in there. I'm going to show you this side before I start. Your speedometer cable, those two little tabs, are going to set on this side of the wheel. They'll just set right in here. And then when this speedometer cable is installed, make sure that this little groove here is going to set just like that while it's on the wheel. So the first thing we're going to do is just take our bolt on the brake side, slide it in, make sure it's not sticking out on this side, just to hold it in place. Make sure there's no plastic tab in our brake pads. If there is, you can go ahead and remove it. And then we're going to slide our rim in. When we put the rim in, we want to make sure that we get our disc brake inside the disc brake pads. Once we get that in, we can go ahead and start raising it up. Then you can start putting your bolt through. Alright, now I slid the bolt through just enough so it's through the wheel, so the wheel's out of the way. Then walk around on this side, Dave. Let's show them this side with the camera. My next step is just going to be putting my speedometer cable on my wheel, and when I slide it up here, just make sure that the clasp goes through that little hook. So I've got that on. I'm just going to take this whole thing, slide it up, and then very carefully put my bolt through. You don't want to force it. Wait, look down here at it and try to line it up. Okay, it goes all the way through. Now you want to get a 14 and a 13 millimeter ratchet and some Loctite. I'm going to grab my Loctite, put a little bit of Loctite on it, start our screw. So go ahead and tighten it down. Just double check and make sure my tab's still in there, and then I'll finish tightening it up. And that's your front wheel assembly. Alright, our next step is putting on your mirrors. One thing that's important when you get your mirrors, make sure that these nuts are screwed all the way down so you have plenty of thread. I'm going to just hit them with a little bit of Loctite. Start them on the sides. Don't try to force these things. They'll find, let them get threaded good before you start going crazy on it. Alright, once it's threaded, you can go ahead and spin it all the way down. I'm going to stop it right there, and then I'm just going to snug my nut down on it a little bit. You need a 14 millimeter ratchet to tighten those down. I'm going to do the same on the other mirror. Making sure I have plenty of thread. Finger tighten that down, and I'm just going to grab my 14 millimeter wrench, go through on both of them and snug them down. Slow this one down. Alright, and your mirrors are off. That's the assembly of the TaoTao CY50B. Last step, if you choose to, you can put your trunk on. This model comes with a free trunk. Hardware is in it. It's really simple to put on. You can put it on the back rack if you choose to. And that's the completed TaoTao CY50B.